Hi, Richard.
Good morning. Nice to see you again.
Hey, you too. How are you doing?
Uh, Pretty well, a bit harried. As you know, we are moving from Vermont back to California. So we're in the
Hmm.
process of divesting all possessions. It turns out that we had more than we thought.
Don't we all, right? It's
Yes,
amazing when you actually do a move, how much you find that you're like, I didn't even know we still had this, right?
yes, indeed.
So, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you for taking time while you're in the moving process to sit down with me and have a conversation. I know we've talked a lot about doing this, and this is something I have been thinking about doing for a long time, but finally decided to actually set it up and make it happen. And I appreciate that you're the first one to join me as a longtime mentor of mine. I appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation.
Oh, thank you. I hope that I can contribute something to this project and the industry.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Richard. Well, to kick us off, I know that one of the things that you and I guess it was about 8 months ago now, you had recommended to me the book Nexus by Yuval Noah Harari, and you were at the time just starting to look at AI and getting to know and understand, getting a sense of it, and you had read his book and then shared it with me,
Mhm.
and I couldn't put it down. I just, I listened to it. I had it on audiobook and I had the physical book, which you can see on my shelf, and just was just eating it up. Right. So for anyone who hasn't read the book or listened to the book, we both highly recommend it. It's more than about AI, but it,
Yeah.
it, it dives deep into the history of information and stories. And it's just a great read.
Yes, I agree. It's really about the history of man's communication with each other. And if people are looking for a shortcut, because it's a lengthy book, I would recommend reading the prologue,
Hmm.
uh, section 3, which encompasses the last 3 chapters of the book, and the epilogue. It will skip a lot of the history, which I think both of us found very interesting.
Hmm.
But if you are predominantly interested in AI, it's unnecessary to wade through all of those hundreds of pages.
Yeah. Yeah. It provides deep history. And so if you're a history buff, which I tend to enjoy history, learning about history and different things, there are many aha moments in the book. I was like, oh, okay,
Mhm.
that makes sense. That's why we're here now. That's, that's what we may have
Yes,
been missing. Just because there's so much that we just don't know. And so it was great to get that, from his book.
yes.
So, Richard, as leading into that, talking about AI, and this is what we're focused on here is the AI journey. Coming out of that experience of learning more about the background and history of information and language and how we engage with each other and stories and such, and at the same time starting to look at AI. Can you provide a little bit of a background on, well, first, can you provide a little background for those that may not know you, although I think most people in our community do. But can you share a little bit about your background and then a little bit about how you got interested in AI?
Yes, I come from the tour operator side of our active adventure travel business, uh, working for years with Mountain Travel Sobek, Backroads, uh, a number of years as a consultant to various C-suite executives in our community. then doing a startup actually for Disney, Adventures by Disney, followed by more of a consultancy experience. Um, I've always been interested in how technology can help our business. I did find quite early, well, when I just started in this business, that most of the people in it were in the dream fulfillment business by choice,
Mm.
not in the more commercial side of it, which was a blessing and a curse. Uh, so one of my goals was to incorporate whatever uh, user-friendly business tactics and strategies were available in a way that would keep people aligned with those fine values that they came to the party with. You know, great customer service, great curiosity, helping people with their experiences, etc. So it was with that foundation that I worked in the business and have continued to look at as technology changes, particularly with AI, how the differences that AI brings to the party um, can help uh, all kinds of companies of any size in our business.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you think about that, the initial steps you've been taking here with AI, as we all have, what were some of the initial surprises for you that got you past, oh, this is interesting, to I really want to dig in?
I think for me, the biggest surprise was the elevation from simple Google search, where we could ask almost any question and then find out it instantaneously answers whatever those questions were, to a new level, which actually created new information.
Yeah.
An aha moment for me was uh, when I asked ChatGPT to compose a Shakespearean sonnet for Edie, my wife, for her birthday. Um, and it did so in an elegant form, 5 different ways, um, in seconds. Now, this is something you can't ask a great search engine to do. This was
Right.
creating new knowledge. And I realized that this is just tip of the iceberg and that we were in store for some very profound opportunities that we can make use of going forward.
Right.
I also used it to give you another example.
Well,
Uh,
sorry, Richard, real quick before you go on, I want to know, what did Edie think?
well, she was much more impressed in the beginning before she found me out and realized that I didn't lean on my undergraduate poetry education to write the whole thing myself. But she was impressed at the end, and of course, I got credit for just thinking of it.
Right. For just for the intention of it, right? So,
Yes,
but
and I
you did
recommend
fess
it to
up.
everyone out there.
Right. Oh, that's great. Well,
So
thank you.
another example that I think has potential to really help uh, different companies, particularly with literature for their guests, is I asked it to create a roundtable discussion involving Sam Altman, Dario Amodei, Hassibi from Google, um, Jeffrey Hinton, formerly of Google, one of the godfathers of this business, and to discuss where they thought AI was going to take us. Is it going to be a great boon to civilization, or might it be our death knell? And
It's a great
in
question.
about a minute and a half, with 3 or 4 people on each side of the question, it created this really terrific dialogue among all of these heavyweights, uh, clarifying what the more profound insights into AI, keeping in mind, of course, that we're still in the early days, and
Yeah.
how we might follow along, what it's going to do for us, some of the landmines that are out there, etc. This is the kind of thing that it can do that is really going to expand our horizons.
Hmm. Yeah. Any specific surprises in that came out of that conversation?
Uh, I was surprised because I read the papers and I see what some of these leaders say about each other. In my roundtable discussion, they were particularly polite to each other, which I didn't
Yeah.
expect.
Right.
And I don't think was
Definitely.
as realistic as the answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love that example because I've used that a few different ways just in business, right? And thinking about
Mm,
different topics or setting the table in a discussion to say, all right, you're a client, you're one of the sales reps for our group, or you're a
mm,
guide in our group, and then you're me, you're the owner of the company or operation, right?
mm,
And then setting it on a task and say, hey, have a discussion so that amongst these three parties that digs into understanding where is the value within our business, how
mm.
might we provide a better experience, etc. And you'll be surprised how far it goes.
It
And
is extraordinary. I just
yeah,
thought of another example. I'm not sure if this will be relevant to our business, but it's
right.
the kind of thing that we can use in different contexts. Our granddaughter was applying to nursing schools.
Hmm.
So I asked Claude to create in table form the pros and cons of the University of Vermont Nursing School versus the
Hmm.
University of Rhode Island Nursing School.
Right.
And again, in a couple of minutes, it produced multi-page tables analyzing the quality of the instruction, the costs, the makeup of the student bodies,
Hmm.
what students could expect with regard to workload, um, and without me specifying any of these things, the percentage of uh, people who graduate who've started as freshmen, the number of months or weeks usually that it took for graduate nurses to get employment after. Once they
Hmm.
got employment, what were the average incomes of the first year graduate? And it even went one step farther in that it said the University of Rhode Island graduates made about ten to $15,000 a year more than
Hmm.
the UVM graduates. However, it said, and this is all in a box on the table, uh, graduates from the University of Rhode Island tend to work in Boston. So the cost of living is much higher. In
Hmm.
Vermont, there's a much stronger emphasis on helping rural medical clinics and
Hmm.
hospitals.
Yeah.
So they make less money, but the cost of living is far less. It
Right.
also offered an editorial, which I'm not sure is true or not, but it said that University of Vermont graduates uh, had a slightly higher personal satisfaction level because they were helping people who needed their help more.
Right.
Who would
Yeah.
think of these things?
Exactly.
It's quite a tool.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think to that point, I think that's what's also interesting is, sometimes, I mean, obviously there's times where we could say, okay, this sounds legitimate. This may be something that we need to dig into and check sources and make sure that that's a valid statement. But the most important part is it's actually introducing
Yeah.
those questions back into your question set that you may not even thought to ask originally, right?
Yes.
So, yeah. So, Richard, based on you've had a lot of great experience in the industry, various different companies and roles, uh, how might you have used? Is there an example or two of how you might have used AI if you had it 10, 15, 20 years ago?
Well, first of all, an easy one is for documents.
Hmm.
It produces documents that are articulate, clear, go into quite a lot of depth, and will describe destinations, both from a catalog text point of view, helping from the marketing side.
Mm-hmm.
And after uh, people have booked the kinds of documents that we sent them, took hours and hours, weeks and weeks to prepare these things.
Yeah.
And they were constantly changing. So we had to review them all every year. Um, and now I can, when I'm about to go on a trip, I ask it to describe to me the strengths, a little bit of history, cultural stuff. And I am amazed constantly at the level of performance and content that it offers me. This would have been
Mm-hmm.
a gold mine back in the day.
Yeah.
Um, I'm thinking, it works on data. AI, large language models collect
Mm-hmm.
trillions and trillions of words. And all it does is put one word after another that it thinks is the best choice. It is, to me, astounding how clear and helpful its choices are, even in this early time. Uh, we are guests of certain active adventure travel companies now, and they are clearly using AI for the information they send us. And we are impressed on how it has been elevated in the last 3 or 4 years. Things like annotated reading lists,
Mm-hmm.
movies, uh, all kinds of things that all companies do, but spend an inordinate amount of time compiling them,
Right.
often without the same expertise that our LLMs are able to render. I
Yeah.
would have loved to have it back then.
Right. Right. This the level of communication, additional information and knowledge that is
Yeah.
always been there. It's there, but in the past, it was always often found that there's a lot of times where we may have looked at something and said, "Oh, we'd like to put this out for our clients," or in my case, working with ATTA, put it out to the members. But then you look at the time and investment that it would take to bring all those pieces together. And so then something else comes up and you get working on that other thing. And then you look back later and
Yes.
say, we missed the opportunity. And now we have the ability to bring that together and synthesize it down enough that then we can, a human on our team can review it and then and dial it in so that it's a valuable resource, and something that we're able to share and deliver, where in the past that may have never happened. Right.
That's right. And
Yeah.
I foresee certain areas that will rise in popularity, but it's going to be very controversial, at
Hmm.
least in the shorter term. For example, I think we've discussed in the past how in our surveys, we discovered that on average, guests phoned the company twice before booking.
Mm-hmm.
Between booking and departure date, they had an average telephone call of about 8.
Mm-hmm.
And those 8 consisted mainly of what we referred to generically as frequently asked questions. What kind of equipment should I bring? What kind of clothing should I wear? What is the electrical system like? Even though we might have sent them information about all
Right.
this stuff in the documentation. Very time consuming, but they were, when push came to shove, frequently asked questions that had
Mm-hmm.
virtually the same answers for everybody. Because AI works on data, it will be able to answer all of those questions fast, articulately, um, or accurately, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
Some people, particularly in the early stages, people who are thirsting for that personal touch, will resent having a machine, even
Mhm.
one that sounds as human as most AI models sound now, um, having that be the answer. There has to be some, at least in the beginning, some way to say, if you have any further questions, call the following numbers between the
Mm-hmm.
following hours.
Right.
There will come a time, though, when it will be the AI mode will be so uh, clear and helpful and user friendly sounding that people will accept it. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of time.
Right.
And of course, being able to call anytime, uh, any day of the week, this will be a huge advantage. And
Yeah.
I see it happening sooner rather than later, maybe within the next couple of years.
Exactly. Yeah, and even right now, I know one of the primary things I'm helping companies on is specifically that. That's usually one of the first places they start is taking information that they have and knowledge that they have internally and just making it available to their team internally as well as to their clients when they're ready externally. So it's and a lot of times I hear people say, we have these tools, whether they're employee manuals or, other types of documentation that may be in a long PDF file or something like that. And they say, we give the information out, but then they still, people still come and ask the questions. How
Yes.
can I cut down on the number of questions I receive on a day-to-day basis? Right.
Yes.
And so it's already solving for that, which is great. And to
Yeah.
your point on getting comfortable with it. I was on a walk with my wife the other day and we were talking and she goes, well, I called the uh, medical, our medical plan. She said, I called our medical plan and I needed to schedule an appointment and I wanted to talk to somebody and immediately it says, these calls are recorded. She goes, we're used to receiving that. And then she says, the next thing was, hi, I'm Sally, your AI assistant. She's, she said, I just hung up. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I said, well, I get it. I said, but try it out next time because
Mhm.
what we're finding is that these AI systems have so much access to so much information and background that you'll be surprised how far you get in the conversation. Obviously, at some point, you're going to need to get to a human to maybe get an answer that it doesn't have, or just to feel comfortable with the answer that you received.
Yes.
But it's coming. It's changing for sure.
Yeah. To use their vocabulary, it does hallucinate. It
Yes.
can make mistakes. Uh, However, every day it gets more powerful and more accurate. So the more we play along, at least in the beginning, if no harm is done,
Yeah.
the better and faster it will be.
Right. Right. Yeah. Richard, playing off of that a little bit on how companies and teams will use AI. I know right now a lot of the consulting work you do is helping companies with their internal communications, with teams
Mm.
collaborating and working together.
Yes.
How do you see AI potentially helping in that space? Because I know we all know that often we'll have a phone call. It's a group of people on a Zoom call, and then you're talking for an hour and you get off, and immediately you're probably right on to the next project, and you may forget half of what was discussed in the call. Uh, and I know I always struggled with that. It's like, okay, I got to go because I got a next call starting. I got to get to that call, and then there's another call right after it. And by the time I get to the end of the day, it's like, okay, well, what did I commit on that call 3 hours ago? Right.
Yes.
Um, how do you, so that's one situation, but how might you, based on your experience working with companies in their internal collaboration and communication, do you
Yeah.
see AI being
The
helpful?
best thing that's happening now, quite quickly, and you may have seen it already with some of the calls you've had, recording the calls and having AI summarize and create outlines of what was covered, uh, in particular, identifying salient points in the call, uh, specifying particular responsibilities of particular participants on the call is
Hmm.
really terrific,
Yeah.
especially nowadays when there is post pandemic so much working from home where
Hmm.
people don't have that luxury of the water cooler conversation or
Yeah.
just strolling over to somebody else's desk uh, to get some clarification for whatever it was we talked about. Uh, a lot of time can be wasted trying to contact people. There's a lot of responsibility for taking notes in Zoom calls where you don't have to anymore. It's being
Hmm.
done for you. You can get the transcript and the outline immediately after whatever the meeting was. And it's a huge benefit, great
Yeah.
tool for all companies.
Right. Yeah, I know I often will use the AI summaries, and then I make sure to keep the full transcripts. I know some people will just get rid of the full transcript, but my recommendation is that you keep the AI summary and the full transcript
Mhm.
because the AI summary is summarizing what it thinks are the most important things on that particular call. But you might have three, four, five, six, 10 calls depending on the project you're working on. You can, if you collect those, and then at some point you may run a prompt against all of them and see if there's elements that may have, or patterns that may have been created or defined
Mhm.
across those calls that may not be in the AI summaries. So that's my recommendation, is just to
Very,
make
very
sure you
useful,
keep both.
particularly if you're a senior executive in these companies. Looking at transcripts of meetings is an excellent way to see patterns of participation from your
Hmm.
staff. So you can assess who is contributing where and what. This isn't to be, a school marm finger shaking uh,
Right.
martinet, but to see where there might be areas you can help people get better at what they're doing. Put
Hmm.
different people on your team together to help each other, this
Yeah.
sort of thing. The transcripts and the summaries will help. Plus, you can ask AI to read a summary and respond to a particular question.
Hmm.
Looking at the last meeting, explain to me the contributions of John and Mary. Where did they complement each other? And were there any contradictions that we all need to be concerned with?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
will help you get them.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful shortcut.
Yeah, and I was just thinking about that too. is that you can, if you're a leader and you look back uh, across a number of calls, right, on a particular project, you can run various different prompts against those transcripts that help you understand, how might where were there ideas that were introduced by somebody that seemed to be um, overshadowed by,
Mhm.
because we see that happen a lot, right? The team
Yes.
will have ideas, they'll speak up, but then there's a stronger personality on the call, maybe that overtakes that, or they're in a higher position, and therefore it's not necessarily acknowledged. And so some of those great ideas from team are not taken into consideration. And so that's one way. There's could be prompts that ask, well, looking across these calls, how, what are some recommendations on how we can collaborate better? All those kinds of things. So I think that's interesting. Yeah.
And preparation for meetings too. You can ask
Hmm.
it to suggest,
Yeah.
depending on what the topic is, it might be operational, it might be marketing. Uh,
Hmm.
what are the 5 most critical areas that we should cover
Yeah.
to achieve our goals based on uh, our mission statement, say?
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
is, I've been very impressed with some of the responses. Uh,
Yeah.
Having that kind of aligned theme, topics that we're working on versus our goals, which are not always top of mind. Um, it's a very useful aid.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you recommend companies start down this path if they're not already started? And even if they're started and they're kind of feeling like they're feeling overwhelmed. I know as I've thought about this in relation to working with companies, I refer back to a term you've used before, 100 things by
Uh,
1%.
yeah.
And so how might you recommend that they take, is it take it step by step? Are there
Mhm.
any thoughts on how they might approach this?
Yes, I remember that. We used to do that with Mountain Travel Sobek. Don't try to change anything 100%. Try to change 100 things 1% each.
Hmm.
Be amazed how far that will take you.
Yeah.
Um, the application of AI will lend itself to that. And I see a bit of a spectrum of application. On the one hand, you have the senior management looking at the larger questions for strategy and being able to incorporate the most recent information on what destinations are going to be the best ones to try, where there are going to be particular problems, both political or weather, uh, that sort of thing. Um, and then you have marketing, of course, uh, improving your information and methods of marketing to the public. But then as you go through the company, looking at department by department, my experience is that the people on the front lines in their
Hmm.
particular departments are the best ones to consult with how it might best be applied.
Yeah.
So you can ask the reservationists where they might use AI, might be helping them with frequently asked questions or developing scripts for speaking with people who have certain questions that might be a little more sophisticated and in need of uh, more profound responses.
Hmm.
Uh, so it'll be an across the board application, 1 to 5% in each
Yeah.
department. I think people will be amazed, not only the initial improvements and suggestions, but the ones that are going to come from building on the ones that have just happened.
Yeah.
It's going to be a progressive improvement. And
Yeah.
all of these things, I know we've talked about this in the past. The question that every tour operator has to ask himself and ask everyone in his or her company, why would someone book with us
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to any other
Yeah.
company that is similar price range? We go to the same places in more or less the same way. How can we differentiate ourselves? And AI is going to help enormously with creating those relationships. I know another thing we've spoken about is that uh, it takes a while to help staff learn this completely, but we're not exclusively in the tour business. We're in
Yeah.
the relationship business.
Mm-hmm.
And the relationship starts with the very first contact a member of the public might have with an ad in the newspaper, seeing a catalog in a doctor's waiting room, um, doing a search online and coming across the website, then phoning or emailing, and then, as we were discussing earlier, calling before booking,
Mm-hmm.
calling after booking, and
Yeah.
then, oh, by the way, they go on a tour.
Mm-hmm.
And after the tour, we will, as quickly as possible, uh, ask them to fill out an evaluation form and explain
Yeah.
to us what they like the best, what they like the least, um, where they might want to go next, following up over time, mailing them a catalog. It's this whole concatenation of contacts
Yeah.
that is the response to why would anyone book with us?
Mm-hmm.
And it's building that relationship and, of course, providing the terrific tour in addition to the service
Yeah.
and the quality of
Yeah.
the materials that answers that question.
Right.
But AI is going to be a huge help in deepening and improving that relationship.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's and that's the goal, right? The goal is that AI is used to
Yeah.
one make us understand, help us understand our businesses better by understanding the knowledge that we gather from our team and from our clients, right? I mean, I always recommend, anytime you're trying to build that knowledge and capture it is through interviews, right? Is whether it's a leader
Mhm.
interviewing someone on the team or team members interviewing each other, different roles interviewing each other, right?
Mhm.
Because if you put a document in front of them or an email in front of them, they're going to synthesize down their response because they're looking to give you the right answer. Where
Mhm.
sometimes in a conversation, you end up getting the nuance or you go down a path you weren't expecting in that conversation. So I think the collection, all of that is going to one help us understand and see our business in a deeper way, as well as by capturing it. Now we can utilize that deeper
Yeah.
knowledge in a better way with AI, in a way that most importantly gets to a point that is freeing up the team to have
Mhm.
those deeper relationships with the client and to create new ways uh, of creating that differentiation between us and somebody else, right?
Yes.
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. It's, and as we were saying earlier, it's early days.
yeah.
We will see big changes in the next couple of years as these tools are refined. And this
Hmm.
is an important point to remember. AI is not an end in itself.
No.
It's a tool,
Mhm.
just like any other tools we've used in the past,
Yeah,
just in quantum magnitudes more powerful.
yeah,
And how we use it to achieve our ends will really be the differentiation going
yeah.
forward.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thinking of the point, this is just the beginning. We could probably talk for hours as we normally do, and we could keep going on, but I think it would be good to finish on this note. I think your
Very
point
good.
is 100% it's important to the mindset and thinking as companies move forward with working with AI, and we'll have plenty of opportunities more to talk deeper about
I look forward
different
to that.
areas. Yeah.
Thanks for having me, as they say.
Yeah. Thank you, Richard, and good luck with your move.
Thank you very much.
We
Speak
all
to you
need
again
it when it
soon.
comes to moving. Yes.
Will do.
Excellent. Thanks, Richard.
Bye.
And bye.